What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Another day, another preview as the games come thick and fast. Fulham at home tomorrow night, 8 p.m. kickoff under the lights. And I feel like, even though we lost 5-3, certain people are feeling a bit more easy about the next fixture, but this is the time the real test comes.
Yeah, I think so. As much as Wednesday was a pleasant surprise in terms of how much of the game we did have and how we were willing to attack PSG and weren't just sitting back, it seemed as though we had a plan, didn't we, to go after them, and we were brave and high pressed. In the end of the day, we did still lose. And so off the back of that, we need to build off the positives of what we saw on Wednesday. And the reality is, if we turn up tomorrow and it is another stodgy performance and it is another game where we're not creating chances and it ultimately is another game we don't win, then it's just all that happens is that run of form we're on. I think at the moment it's 2 wins in 12 or 3 wins in 12. You know, that just stretches, and that's going to be reality. So tomorrow is very, very important for Frank to build on what we saw.
Yeah, completely agree. And we're going to go straight into the predicted lineup. It's quite a hard one to predict, seeing as with Frank, he changed up the formation and everything going into the PSG game. But Frank did his press conference yesterday, and team news has been revealed. So what are we looking at?
Yeah, so he was asked about long-term absentees in Solanke and Kulusevski, are they any nearer to returning? And he said no, which is definitely a concern in regards to Solanke. It's a very weird one, isn't it, with him? No one really knows what's going on. Every time he's asked about it, he keeps saying, oh, positive steps, he's getting closer. And then there seems to be setbacks and there seems to be other things. He was asked, is there any timeline on Solanke? And he said, I'm not going to talk about timelines. I'm just going to tell you when he's back and when he's not, because he doesn't want to put pressure on him to come back. So that's quite a worrying response. It seems as though no one really knows what's going on with him. Dragic not fit enough to start, he said, so he's unavailable. Romero suspended. I think Basuma, I've heard, is going to miss the whole of December with his injury. So, and obviously Maddison continues to recover from the ACL. We're not going to likely see him until the last stages of the season. So, yeah. Apart from that, I think everyone else is available.
So basically, obviously, with Romero being suspended and Dragic, look, you'd expect to see him at some point just during December. Everyone else is a long-time absentee, really.
Yeah, I mean, do you reckon Solanke is just going to turn up one day and he'll be back, or is it, it's weird? I don't know what to think about that. Do we move forward as if he's not going to be an option? Do we consider that in January about what's going on with him?
Well, I think the only thing that we can do is sit and wait until the end of December, and if things haven't become clearer going into January, then it's something that they're going to have to seriously look at. But I would draw up a list. That's what I'll be doing right now, drawing up a list just in case, because we can't keep going on like this. Like Solanke, first international break was supposed to be back. Second international break was supposed to be back. Third international break, he was just like, well, maybe we'll see. I hope to see him before the end of 2025. And now he doesn't want to put any time frame on it or anything like that. So, I mean,
it's crazy. It's not long to go before he's missed half the season.
Yeah.
And without even a word of, oh, he's going to be out for this amount of time, or this is a long-term injury. It's kind of every week. It's a bit like what they used to do with Lamela. Every week you'd be like, oh, he's close, or it was just a knock, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's 6 months out. And you don't even, there's not even been an announcement. The same thing seems to be happening with Solanke. It's a really odd one at the moment. Let's just hope he's back sooner rather than later. And he's been a big miss, that's for sure. But from a player who has had famously good with injuries before coming to Tottenham, it's crazy that he comes here.
It's just so classic Tottenham, isn't it? It's just so classic Tottenham. It's like both him and Moani. I know Moani seems to be over it now, but I mean, he literally never had an injury in his career. Comes to Spurs, dead leg, fractured. Oh, man, it's just madness. You can't write it. You just can't. But, yeah, definitely worrying on Dom Solanke. But the positive thing is that Moani had a really good performance in midweek, and Richarlison seems to be banging the goals in. So let's hope we don't miss him. But, look, let's get into this predicted lineup. What formation? The big thing is the formation.
Yeah, great question.
Because he went 4-2-2-2 this game. Three last games, 3 different formations.
So he went 4-2-2-2 with 4 centre mids.
Yeah.
But he could potentially go 4-2-2-2 with more attacking players. I wouldn't be surprised with that. And also, that's a formation that Xavi used to play at Leipzig, a 4-2-2-2.
Yeah.
So he knows it well.
Yeah.
So Obviously, you can play a winger on the right as well in that formation. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks with the same formation but different personnel.
You want to go for 4-2-2-2?
Yeah, I think it's a good chance he might go for it.
All right, let's go for it then. I'm happy to go for it. I was just... look, it could be anything. That's the reality. He did say, like, after the PSG game, that he was asked, wasn't he, was this a specific kind of setup and tactic for the game against PSG? And he didn't really give much away, did he?
No, he said it was definitely more of the intensity and stuff I like to see from my team. But in terms of the tactic, he didn't reveal. I guess it's right. You don't want to reveal what your tactics are going to be moving forward. But I think it's a formation I'd like to see us pursue, but not necessarily have to be full centre mids. Is there anything I would say? Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. We're going for a 4-2-2-2 formation. In goal, we know who's going to be in goal, and that is going to be Guillermo Vicario. And no danger of him losing his spot, that's for sure.
No, needs to hopefully make a few more saves than he did on Wednesday night, but he's been in good form.
Yeah, they're not going to have Vitinha on the edge of the box or an Eberich.
Although he has shipped 9 goals, in the last 2 games, so obviously we need to stop that.
Yeah, well, it's mad though. Like you're saying, he shipped 9 goals, but he hasn't had a bad performance in either of the games.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. But it's weird. You can't really say he's played well as well when you have pretty much 6 shots and 5 go in.
Yeah.
Like, I know you can say he's not to blame, but as well, you can't really give him praise either.
Yeah, I mean, he made 1 save against PSG. But the goals that they scored were just such high quality. It's just like, I don't think many keepers getting to the majority of those.
Yeah.
So that's just the quality of opposition. Like, we've literally just had the 2 hardest games in Europe in the space of a week. That's the reality. But anyway, let's go into the back 4. We know, well, at right back, I think Pedro Porro retains his spot.
I think so as well. I think we need to be a bit more offensive. We need to go at this Fulham team, and we need that quality from Porro. I think he's going to be very important, so I think he starts. Right
centre-back, I think it's a return to the lineup to Kevin Danso. Obviously, last time he started was against Arsenal. I don't think he did too many favours that day. Got hauled off at half-time as we reverted back to a back 4. But maybe some long throws come back into play for this game.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, we're going to be missing that passing ability from Romero, albeit did put him in trouble on Wednesday night, giving away that silly 3rd goal. But yeah, I think Danso's obviously the natural replacement. I guess the only other option you might consider is whether you put maybe Paulinho there, because he's done quite well at centre-back. But I think Danso, there's no reason not to put him back in.
Yeah, would you be mad at that, Paulinho instead of Danso at centre-back? But then you're thinking, if you're Kevin Danso, seeing that, saying a centre midfielder's coming into my spot, centre-mid, like, what am I doing here?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it personally. I don't think I'd do it, but if I saw it, I wouldn't be like, that's a crazy decision. Like, he's been quite good. And if you pair him with Van der Ven, maybe they'd strike up a good partnership, who knows. But yeah, I think Danso's done well enough to be given the spot. But he just needs to make sure he's a lot calmer in the ball.
Yeah. Left centre-back, we know who's going to be there. It's going to be Mickey Van der Ven. Performances haven't been great as of late from him in the last couple of games, but I guess you could say the same for the whole team.
Yeah, he's going to be quite important in this game. Likely, if Adama Traore is coming down that side, he might have to help out the fullback on occasion. But look, he's not had. He's been part of the defence who's conceded 9 goals, so you can't really say he's played well in the last 2 games. But I don't think he's been anything standout in terms of being poor.
Yeah. And then to make up that back line, so it's a toss-up between Jed Spence and Destiny Udogie. Udogie was rested in midweek against PSG, came on in the latter stages of the game. Jed Spence had a very good game out in Paris, I thought, at left-back. You saw him really do things that we wanted to see him do, like hit that byline, really attack that space on the left-hand side and not just slow our attacks down too much. And I think he played very well. But having said that, I do think Udogie was rested for a reason, and I think that reason is to start in this game against Fulham.
Yeah, I don't think he was rested. I think Frank felt he was the best man for the job on Wednesday, but I think Udogie is the best man for the job on Saturday, in my opinion. I wonder if Spence will come back in against Newcastle on Tuesday night. So I think with that in mind, I think Udogie definitely does start in this one.
Yeah, it's like, look, Udogie played against Arsenal, and he played the game before that. So I mean, 3 games in the space of a week. Someone that's not long recovering from injury as well. So maybe it was a case of managing minutes as well. But look, that's the back 4 that we're going for. Moving on to the midfield, where it gets a bit more tricky. Does Paulinho start this game?
Well, we looked a bit better on the ball on Wednesday without him. Obviously, it's against his former club. So he'll know quite a lot of the players well. I think he probably does. I think he probably does start. The only question mark is who we play. If depending on who we start, how do we function playing around him? But I think if we can sufficiently get enough good ball players around him, I think it's worth starting him in this game.
Would you say Palhinha starting alongside an Archie Gray in those kind of positions?
I was going to say Bergvall.
Yeah, I was going to say Bergvall further forward, but I'm happy for it to be there.
I think it's going to be. It could be Bergvall further forward, but I've got a feeling it's going to be Palhinha with. I guess it could be Bergvall or Archie Gray, but I'm feeling Bergvall because he's in good form, and he was starting games before, so a double pivot like that in the two.
So in PSG, wasn't it?
It was Bentancur and Bentancur, Gray, and Sarr. Really, it was like a diamond kind of thing.
So in my mind, it was like Bentancur, Gray, and then a bit further forward was Sarr and Bergvall, and then the two strikers.
Yeah, they were kind of all interchanging. It was quite.
Well, that's the thing. Fluid. Like, it doesn't really matter what position you put it in. Like, they will interchange for sure. But I think the four midfielders for me that are going to play is Palhinha, Bergvall, and then probably Gray and Sarr again.
See, I was going to say...
Or maybe Gray and Javi.
So I think he's going to play... I think he could play 4-2-2-2 with Palhinha, Bergvall, Kudus and Simmons.
Ooh.
Like
you
that.
Know what? I really like that.
And then go a bit more offensive. And you have those... Obviously, it will lead to more responsibility for Bergvall. But, you still have that attacking quality. You got high energy there. And I think that's why I want Palhinha, because he just gives that extra legs to cover the space, then maybe Bentancur does, so you're not as exposed.
It is very harsh on Archie Gray not to retain his spot, though, because he's put in such a fantastic performance, didn't he? So, yeah, I get why you had the conversation of Bergvall or Gray there, because that's who wanted to play Javi and Kudus in the two behind the strike. And I think if we did play Javi and Kudus above a Palhinha and Bergvall with the two strikers up top, I think a lot of fans will be delighted with that.
And Kudus and Javi also both, obviously, they're both comfortable centrally, and they're both, Kudus definitely comfortable out wide. So I think it could. I think it could work. And obviously Simmons knows that role quite well.
I agree. I mean, I think
it's quite offensive though.
It's very offensive. I mean, you want to see that. Do you think Frank's actually going to do that though?
I think it's possible. Because I think you got to remember PSG away, he plays full centre mids. I think it's because it's PSG. I don't think he did that because he wanted. That's like he's going to play full centre mids from now on. I think he played full central midfielders because we're going away to a top team. So he just wanted players who we know are going to have that stamina and that grit. But also he put Gray and Bergvall because they got a bit more about them. But obviously we know they're not like, especially Gray. They're not going to be like really offensive players who are going to be asking to opening up a team like Fulham. You're going to need a bit more quality than that. And I think he knows that. So I think he could go. I think he can go more offensive.
Do you think there's a possibility to potentially put Archie Gray in there with Javi and put a Kudus up top with a Moani or a Richarlison?
Yes, but I don't. I think it's possible, but I think he's going to want to retain that partnership of Moani and Richarlison. They both scored. I think there's no need to break up that partnership for this game, especially if it's a big game. You need a win.
But also,
there's no point. Why do you have to tinker and put Kudus up front and change all these different things? You've got two strikers there.
It's true, but also it's our only two strikers, and we've got a hell of a lot of games coming up. It's literally 2 games a week now till the new year, I think. So at some point, one of these players is going to have to get a rest at some point. You know what I mean?
Yes, maybe do it on Wednesday. Like, I think, if it need be. I think it's too important a game. It's too important a game. I think we need to go at them, and I think we need to stick with Juan and Rishi while they're developing a good partnership. They've got a bit of momentum together. Why break that up?
All right. I'm down. Let's go for it. Let's go for Kudus above João Palhinha. Let's go for Javi Simmons above Lucas Bergvall. And let's go for Richarlison and Randall Kolo Muani up top.
Oh. There you go. It's quite...
That is a mad offensive team. Like, it's unprecedented to play this under Frank. You know what I mean?
100%. So maybe the only thing I would suggest is maybe it won't be Bergvall, but I think you have to play one of at least Gray or Bergvall in this game. You can't drop them both after yesterday. You have to start one of them.
I kind of feel like you've got to play both of them.
I would like to see both of them, but also, yeah, I guess it could be both of them. Maybe then you're thinking probably Bergvall, you push him into one of the two positions, and then so I guess maybe you leave out Simmons. It's possible. That's maybe the only change I'd potentially make. You put Palini and Gray next to each other.
Like for me, I genuinely believe that on the back of it,
I don't think he plays a full centre mids again. I think you put another offensive player in there.
No, I agree with that, but I think one of Kudus or Simmons for Gray, in my opinion, just because as well, like I think Frank might think that's a bit too open in the middle of the park. I know you've got João Palini there. Maybe it's not too open because you are, heavy favourites at home and you need as many ball players as you want. But Archie Gray's a ball player as well.
And Bergvall can play the pivot.
Yeah.
He can play that role.
It's true.
So there's no reason to be worried about it, and I think maybe you can trust them. And also, I think if you're playing Kudus and Simmons that role, they can come in and help as well, essentially. So hopefully you avoid those overloads.
Yeah.
And then I think the what do you call it? The plan will be to kind of get a lot of crosses in. So that's why I think you want Muani and Rishi there, because they're just both nuisances in the box and they both offer a threat. And I think Fulham have actually been struggling dealing with crosses this season. So I definitely think you want to continue with those two as well. And I think you need a bit more about you in the attacking areas, because Fulham are going to ask you to break them down. So I just think you need that little bit extra, well, it's a lot extra attacking force.
And when you're looking at the bench then, in terms of offensive players on the bench, what does that leave us with? That leaves us with Matisse Tell,
Odebear. Tell, Odebear, Johnson. So you got 3 attackers there.
Okay. All right, look, this is what we're going to go for. We're going to go for Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Destiny Udogie left back, Danso and Van der Ven in the centre-back positions, then João Palini and Lucas Bergvall in the double pivot. We've got Kudus and Simmons as the kind of dual number 10s, with Randall, Kolo Muani and Richarlison up top.
And you know what? We were saying it was a brave selection from Frank against PSG to do that, take Palini out, put the youngsters in. But I think bravery in selection in this game would be going really offensive, like not holding back. And that's what I want to see as well. I don't want to see Frank think, we need more protection. I want to see us really go for it.
No, I agree. Look, I totally agree. It's the only thing I'm just trying to think of the way Frank's thinking about things, and I feel like this would be just completely unprecedented. I guess the PSG game was to a certain extent as well, so maybe something has flicked in his mind, and we are just going to go, all out attack. A lot of offensive players on the pitch, and I think we need it. We need that kind of performance, particularly at home as well. So yeah, this is the lineup we're going to go for. If this is the lineup, you sticking with your 2-1 from Predict the Prem?
If this is the lineup, maybe I'll go 3-1. Maybe I'll go 3-1, because I think the front two hopefully can continue what they were doing on Wednesday. And I'm thinking if we dominate possession, we can create a lot more chances than we have been with that talent that you've got there in the front line. If Simmons and Kudus can combine. The only thing I would say is, if we play this formation, will Kudus and Simmons be able to get close enough to each other to combine? But hopefully they'll find moments too. But I'm excited about the prospect of Bergvall in the pivot with Kudus and Simmons ahead of him, and you've got 2 strikers there, and you've got Udogie flying down the left hand side as well. So I can envisage in possession you've got Udogie flying in, being a left winger, Simmons tucked inside, and then you've got 2 strikers ahead of just 1 striker ahead. I think it should be a dynamic that should work a lot better than what we've seen.
Yeah, if we do go this formation, I'm going to go. Yeah, I mean, I said 2-1. I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0.
Clean sheet as well. So, yeah, look, I'm fairly positive going into the game on the back of that PSG game. I know we lost, and I know we made some really poor defensive errors on the day, but I just love the team dynamic a lot more than what I've seen in previous weeks. So that is your predicted lineup.